What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACMC 339 Dudley Road, New Style Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam.
Is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting your business or your livelihood? Are you struggling to pay your pending and current bills? Then you must listen very carefully. Premium advertising will expose your business to thousands of people instantly by using both digital and terrestrial radio and a wide range of social media platforms to get your business out there and start making money. It is that simple, so don't delay. Contact us to advertise your business on New Style Radio 98.7 FM, www.newstyleradio.co.uk, and all multiple social media platforms. A highly trained digital marketing team will create a bespoke digital marketing strategy tailored to get your business up and running and making money in no time. Don't delay, call us today. Our team is standing by. 07584197380. WhatsApp us on 07872443765 or email us at newstylradiolive@yahoo.com. Good afternoon. How you doing? Welcome to another program in the series of What's on Your Mind. I'm Carl. The program is produced by breakthroughtv@gmail.com. So how you doing? We are in February. Can you believe it? January has left us, gone. My days. Let me say thank you for tuning into the program. As you know, the program is called What's on Your Mind. And I go through a few things that's happening around the world, the UK. And we go into sports and look at a bit of entertainment. And then I go into my rants. A lot of people like my rant because I tell it like it is. So, as I say, we're in February. February is here. And what happens in February? I've been trying to think what happens in February. The only thing that happens I can remember that's happening in February is Valentine's and all the lovebirds and whatever, the grass is green and all that sort of stuff will be happening or meeting up. Now, February is still winter. And I'm not a big fan of the winter, you know what I mean? But I'm heading towards spring. I know we're heading towards spring, and spring is lovely. Spring is like the best time of my life. I really love spring because the things start happening in spring. It starts getting warmer, the plants are growing, the birds are singing, and the grass is starting getting greener. So I do like that in spring. Then we head on to what we call the best month of the year, the summer. Love the summer. The summer really does it for me. And you can have a really good time in the summer. In the UK, the summer is really very good. Based on the fact that the light is a lot longer. You know what I mean? The light is a lot longer. So you can really do a lot of things in the summer. You have more time to do things. And don't forget also, in February, it's Black History Month. Yes, fantastic. Also, what you have in February, you've had the International Reggae Month, which is absolutely marvelous. Black History Month is actually I should explain, it's in America, and the Caribbean and those parts of the world. As I said before, in England we have it in October. I don't know why we have it in October, but you know what I mean. Those are the things that's happening in February. So let me get back to the autumn. I go back to the autumn. Now the autumn I do like the autumn because things start happening in the autumn. You start get regeneration and all that sort of thing, and the leaves start falling down off the trees and that sort of something. And yes. You have where everything is decaying and that sort of thing start to happening. And as I say, it's the whole regeneration part. Now, thing going on. Now, we go to winter. Winter, I don't know what's happening in winter. Now, winter, I don't know what winter is for, really. The only thing I can think of winter as being for is the fact that you in places where it gets really wintry or cold, they got what you call frost. Now, the frost is a good thing because the frost, I imagine, kills all the germs. But in countries where you don't have winter, I mean, the tropics like the Caribbean, West Indies, and parts of Africa, you do have a winter, but it doesn't get really cold. So in those sort of countries, I actually wonder what gets rid of the germs. But I'm sure Mother Nature's business will take care of that because that's what Mother Nature does. Don't forget, this is a live stream. And if you see a blitz or that or what, it is a live stream. Yeah? So thank you for tuning in. And as I say, thank you, all you guys for being supporting the program. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, let me look at a few things that's been happening around the world. As you know, in the UK, Boris Johnson has been heavily criticized after the Sue Gray report has come out. And you know what I mean, a lot of his MPs are still criticizing him, and a lot of them are still not happy with him. However, he has got some support. You know what I mean? One MP says in Parliament that does he takes the people of this country for being fools. You know what I mean? Another MP also says he set the rules, or did he think the rules did not apply to him when this sort of happened? Did he thought the rules not happen to him? And the thing about this as well, see, Boris Johnson has apologized, and I don't know how far that apology will go. However, you know, some people has actually said he's doing a great job. You know what I mean? Some of his supporters has said he's doing a great job, and he should stay. They don't want him to go. So, and I'm not saying I want him to go or he should go. You know what I mean? It's just totally how it makes you feel. And the other thing as well, that sort of, I mean, I didn't get locked into this for a little while, but then I got locked into it. For the fact is, can you imagine if you have a relative, and your relative, you can't get to see your relative, or you can't go out and see your relative, so you're in a lockdown, you can't go anywhere. Even people, if you want to go and pay respect at the cemetery to one of your relatives, you still can't go. So it is a very, very difficult situation. And as I say, some people just flaunt the rules when they like. And the other thing as well, I mean, take for instance, Her Majesty the Queen, I mean, Prince Philip died, and they was having a party, I think, probably when on the night when that lady was obeying all the rules and doing what she's supposed to do, you know what I mean? And they wasn't obeying the rules. So it is a very not a very good situation, you know what I mean? And I say I'm not calling for the Prime Minister to lose his job or whatever, but I wanna in his response, he has something to say in his response. So let me try and see if we can bring up what he has to say in his response. We're going to try and go to that now.
And first, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Sue Gray and all the people who have contributed to this report, which I've placed in the library of this House and which the government has published in full today for everyone to read. I will address its findings in this statement, but firstly, I want to say sorry. And I'm sorry for the things we simply didn't get right, and also sorry for the way that this matter has been handled. And it's no use saying that this or that was within the rules, and it's no use saying that people were working hard. This pandemic was hard for everyone. We asked people across this country to make the most extraordinary sacrifices, not to meet loved ones, not to visit relatives before they died. And I understand the anger that people feel. But, Mr. Speaker, it isn't enough to say sorry. This is a moment when we must look at ourselves in the mirror and we must learn. And while the Metropolitan Police must yet complete their investigation, and that means there are no details of specific events in Sue Gray's report, I, of course, accept Sue Gray's general findings in full. And above all, her recommendation that we must learn from these events and act now. With respect to the events under police investigation, she says, and I quote, "No conclusions should be drawn or inferences made from this other than it is now for the police to consider the relevant material in relation to those incidents." But more broadly, she finds that there is significant learning to be drawn from these events, which must be addressed immediately across government. This does not need to wait for the police investigations to be concluded. That is why we are making changes now to the way Downing Street and the Cabinet Office run, so that we can get on with the job that I was elected to do, Mr. Speaker, and the job that this government was elected to do.
So there you have Boris Johnson trying to explain himself. And English, you know, is not a lean on the country. You know what I mean? The other thing as well, the fact that Boris the other thing, what he does, he says something there, and he tries to blame, why we was all following the rules. He made the rules, so he should have known the rules. And while we was all following the rules, he keeps saying we. Well, we was following the rules. Only him and his colleague wasn't following the rules. So I don't know why he kept saying we. And the other thing as well, I hope that he will actually publish the full report, the full Sue Grade report, when it actually comes out. And as I say, the police are investigating it. And it'll be interesting to see what the investigation comes out with. Because the other thing is that the police will investigate, and they'll probably be giving a fine. You know what I mean? They'll probably give whoever was involved a fine. But will we know who's been given a fine? Will we know if the Prime Minister have been given a fine? The other thing, if it was somebody in the Labour Party has done this, or if it's a Labour leader had done this, can you imagine what happens? Can you imagine what would have happened? Let's see if we can have a listen to what the Labour leader, what he has to say about this. Let's have a look.
I don't call Keir Starmer the leader of the opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank Sue Gray for the diligence and professionalism with which she's carried out her work. It's no fault of hers that she's only been able to produce an update today, not the full report. The Prime Minister repeatedly assured the House that the guidance was followed and the rules were followed. But we now know that 12 cases have reached the threshold for criminal investigation, which I remind the House means that there is evidence of serious and flagrant breaches of lockdown, including the party on the 20th of May 2020, which we know the Prime Minister attended, and the party on the 13th of November 2020 in the Prime Minister's flat. There can be no doubt that the Prime Minister himself is now subject to criminal investigation. The Prime Minister must keep his promise to publish Sue Gray's report in full when it is available. But it is already clear that the report discloses the most damning conclusion possible. Over the last 2 years, the British public have been asked to make the most heart-wrenching sacrifices. A collective trauma, endured by all, enjoyed by none. Funerals have been missed, dying relatives unvisited. Every family has been marked by what we've been through. And revelations about the Prime Minister's behaviour have forced us all to rethink and relive those darkest moments. Many have been overcome by rage, by grief, and even guilt.
That's the Labour leader there. And don't forget, you can actually watch the whole clip that we've shown there on YouTube, so you can actually check it out. The other thing as well, in Sue Gray's report, Gray report actually identifies failure of leadership. Now, if I was running a company and it comes up with failure of leadership, or you was running the company and they comes up with failure of leadership and judgment, what do you think would have happened? Now, what do you think would have happened? You see what I'm saying? You would have gone, you would have lost your job. And as I say, I'm not here to say Boris should lose his job, because we don't do that. This is not what we do. And I'm going to try to also bring up another clip of the former Prime Minister. What has Theresa May has got to say also about this incident that's gone on. Let's see what she has to say. If we can get Theresa up.
May. Thank you,
Here we go.
Mr. Speaker. The COVID regulations impose significant restrictions on the freedoms of members of the public. They had a right to expect their Prime Minister to have read the rules, to understand the meaning of the rules, and indeed those around him to have done so too, and to set an example in following those rules. What the Gray report does show is that number 10 Downing Street was not observing the regulations they had imposed on members of the public. So either my right honourable friend had not read the rules, or didn't understand what they meant, and others around him, or they didn't think the rules applied to number 10. Which was it?
You have it. Theresa May nailing it there, isn't she? And you know what? I got to tell you, because Theresa May must be really laughing when she's not in the in the House of Parliament or whatever, because Boris Johnson actually takes over from it. She must be killing herself laughing, you know what I mean? I bet she probably think, you know what I mean? It couldn't happen to a nice guy. When she goes out like that, she must be jumping up and down, Boris with a smirk on his face, you know what I mean? But as I say, I hope it will be sorted out very, very soon, you know what I mean? And I say, as Theresa May says, and I said it before her, I hope they will actually publish the full reports, because as I say, if it was me and you, you know what I mean, we would have been done for like criminal, or there would have been an criminal investigation carried out of us, and we would have to pay. We would have had some fines. I mean, I recall watching a lady as well, and she says, basically, her mother has died, and she was in a lockdown, and she couldn't go and get to telling the relatives of her relatives, and when she actually did, it just didn't work out. You know what I mean? So we hope something good, or good lessons will actually come out of this, yeah. And don't forget to say, you can watch the whole interview there, or the whole thing that went on in the House of Parliament this week on YouTube channel. Right, let's move on. So, now, the crisis in Russia, Ukraine. Now, basically, Boris Johnson again has said they need to bring stricter sanctions on Russia for what is going on in Ukraine. The trouble about that, you see, and he get together with the United States. They had a chat a couple of days ago, and they're planning. We don't know what they're planning, but they're actually planning to get stricter restriction. Only thing about that are they are doing a lot of Russian money. A lot of Russian money. Have a where it is. It's in London. A lot of the Russian money is actually in London. So I don't know how that is going to go on, you know what I mean? But I hope there's no war and nothing is going to happen over there, you know what I mean? The other thing I want to move on to the next story. I come right home in Africa. Now, Africa, 100 people has died in Africa in Storm Anna. Now, Storm Anna hit the south of the African continent, and it's, you know what I mean, it caused devastation to parts of Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and quite a few of other countries. It's been gone quiet because a lot of people hasn't said anything about this. But I say they're actually trying to clear up, and the storm Anna has caused chaos. You know what I mean? And it leaves devastating, and people are actually trying to clear up. So I hope the world will actually get together and also help these people. As I say, you can see some pictures we got up there, which is actually terrible and actually disgusting. And we say a big condolence to a lot of those people, you know what I mean, and their family, because it's never nice when you see something like that in a time like this. And I know different parts of the world's been having different weather storm. Even in the UK this week we had Malik, and we also have another one this week which caused quite a bit of wind in the UK. So we hope those people, you know, will be all right and things will get better, you know what I mean? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as I say, we need to sort of move on. And now I'm going to come home to actually Birmingham. Now, a cancer patient was left traumatized. And he said he was in a community center in Aston, Birmingham, and he was attacked. And he was actually a key figure in the 1970s in the anti-apartheid movement. And all this attack was actually caught on camera. However, on the names, about 11 people, names were actually given, and no arrest has been yet made. There was also a protest, and the police has actually said they take these investigation very serious, and they're still looking into it. As I say, Mr. Mohammed Khan is not a happy person, and it says he's been like a very, very good community worker over the years, and to see things like this happening, you know what I mean, it's not nice. And I say he was in a community center, and it's all being filmed, and still no action has yet taken, you know what I mean. So that is not a very, very nice thing to happen, you know what I mean. So we hope some, you know what I mean, some justice will come out of it, and we hope that the police as I said, the police are doing what they're supposed to do, and they always do what they're supposed to do. And I know they're you know what I mean, they say we don't take this sort of thing lightly. So they're on it, and they're, you know what I mean. We hope some satisfaction or some justice will actually come from this very, very soon. Yeah. Now, let me move on again. Now, a woman who jumped to her death in the high-rise building in America. She's been identified as Miss U.S. Chesley Chris. Chesley Chris was also an attorney, and she was in the Miss U.S. pageant in 2019. She was only 30 years old. A beautiful lady, a wonderful lady. And we say big condolence to her family, you know what I mean? And as I know, there's no reason, or there's no investigation that actually comes out why she actually jumps out the building. And as I say, I hope something good will come out of this, and somebody can investigate it and find out why such a young lady, or why 30-year-old would have jumped out of a high building, you know what I mean, and kill herself for some reason at all, you know what I mean? So I look to see what will happen, and something will get sorted out there, yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, my next story is, wow. Now, this is a wonderful lady, and I got to say a big shout out. According to Loop News, Jamaica new chief defense staff, she's commented to say she is changing the culture of Jamaica violence and culture of violence. Her name is Antoinette Gorman, and they say she is the first female to become Jamaica Chief of Staff. She's also the first female officer serve at sea, the first woman to reach rank commander. And we say big shout out to her. And I gotta tell you as well, you know, she actually goes, and I know this, and I know a lot of my family would have known this. She actually went to Knox College, which is in the parish of Clarendon. So it is absolutely marvelous. And it's good to see when you see somebody that's so successful coming from where you literally a couple of miles from, you know what I mean? So we say big shout out to her, you know what I mean? And as I say, the fact that a woman has done so well, you know what I mean? She be the top of what you call the tree, you know what I mean? The defense force giants, you know what I mean? I'm really happy with that. That is actually marvelous, yeah? Don't forget, as I say, to like, share, and subscribe. Let me say thank you. Want to say a big shout out to you, Hector. How you doing? Massive respect. Thank you. Now let me look at sports. Now, Lewis Hamilton has been absent from social media for a little while, and everybody has something to say. He missed this, and he missed that, and he missed this, and he missed that. Well, Lewis has gone back on social media, and he was on social media to reveal the fact he's created a system to help underprivileged children in school, which is absolutely marvelous. And Lewis Hamilton is actually involved in about 44 current charitable foundation, which is marvelous. Now, the thing I want to say about Lewis Hamilton, a lot of people say, oh, he should retire. He should retire and give the youngster a chance. Now, how can he give the youngster a chance? Because all the youngsters look up to Lewis as the man at the top. Now, if somebody want to come up with that, which I've read in a couple of magazines, if somebody wants to come up with that, why don't they say the guys them who hasn't get on the podium this year, or the guys, the drivers who haven't got on the podium the year before? Why don't they say they should give their chop? But you can't ask Lewis to, sorry, Lewis is a still very good driver. You can't ask Lewis to give up, because he's an inspiration to a lot of young people. A lot of young people wants to reach the stage where Lewis Hamilton is at. So how can you ask him to give up, or you'd be happy if he give up? Which is, you know what I mean, this is rubbish. The other thing, you know, I must say, Lewis, for me, is 8 times world champion. A lot of people will say something else. He's actually 8 times world champion. Yeah. And if they didn't change the rule or cheat him out of that race, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, yes, he would have won it. The only reason why Lewis would have not been able to win that race if he had a puncher, and he never had a puncher. They switched the race. They switched the race on him. And Max Verstappen was able to win that race. And Max Verstappen will never be a true champion until that is sorted out. Because a lot of people will not recognize Max Verstappen as a true champion until that is sorted out. And Lewis still got about 10 years more to race. So, when they say Lewis to retire, he knows exactly what he's doing, you know what I mean? And they say, big shout to you, Lewis Hamilton. Keep doing what you're doing and don't let them twist up your brain. Let me move on to entertainments. Now, Now, I gotta tell you now, I gotta sit down. I gotta sit down a little bit different. Now, entertainments. The ladies, them. And the ladies, them now, you know. The ladies, them, do it, man. The ladies, Minister Marion Hall, formerly known as Lady Saw, has been cussed out. Some, we could say, lick out on some of the dancehall artists. You know what I mean? Artists such as Jay the Kingdom, Ishona, Spice, and Sensilia. She's been actually licking out on them. And she says in an article, you know what I mean, she, in one of her blog, she says, all four of them is on them way to hell. All four of them is in a competition on their way to hell. I'm gonna have a little chat about that a little later on, you know what I mean? I think she also wants to make a tune with Slim Sia. But he wants to be a gospel tune, you know. But there have been fighting going on there, you know, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And this worries me. I don't mind, you know what I mean? I don't mind people doing things, but when they start fighting like that, it worries me, you know what I mean? And when you see, put it this way, you know, I only look at it that way. This is the way I look at this. I think it's a bad example for the youngsters, a bad example for the very, very children. I think that's what I think it is. But as I say, I'm going to move on, yeah, and talk about that a little bit later on. Now, wow, Rihanna is pregnant. I'm saying big congratulations to Rihanna, marvelous. Now you know Rihanna's pregnant, but she's everywhere. Every paper's got him. Every social media's showing pictures of her. I know it's her first, and we say big congratulations. But you know, the way it is, you think no other woman has ever been pregnant in the world. That's how it comes up on social media. But I say, I do love Rihanna, you know. She's absolutely marvelous. So we say, big shout out to her. She's doing absolutely fantastic. So we say, big shout out to you, my sister. And all the best, yeah. I also want to move on to another story, which is, now, the Jamaican dancehall reggae artist Coffee has announced her first album. And her first album will be called Gifted. And that is due out very, very soon. The lady is doing very, very well. And it's good to see that. Good to see how she's doing very, very good and marvelous. So we say big shout out to her. And I'm actually like to listen to that that new album. The Grammy Award, she's also won a Grammy Award, as you know. And I'm actually looking forward to look at that album and see how it pans out, how it will be in sort of times like this. Now, as you know, moving on, as you know, we always give you a story that is very, very good within the bad news. And this, I actually love this story. Positive message. What we call positive vibration, inspiring person. Now, Jamaican full-time NBA student has won the NBA Student of the Year Award 2022. Monique Ferguson has triumphed over 100 students at Aston University. And as I say, the press has released that she done absolutely marvelous. And she was the first winner of the Enterprise Scholarship, which sets her up for life. And we say big condolences to that. Big respect. My apologies. Big respect to that wonderful lady. And isn't she beautiful? And sooner or later, you think we are going to try and get her into the studio, you know what I mean, and See if we can get an interview with her, what she has to say. I think it's absolutely marvelous. So I think we should all give her a big cheer. You know what I mean? Cheer when we need to. Marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. And isn't she pretty? Marvelous, marvelous lady. Right. The time is here. My little rant. Now. Oh, dear me. Now. My little rant. Now. This has been tossed around with whatever is going on. Bitch. Dirty hypocrite. Go lick out your Bible. I shouldn't laugh, should I? You're a hypocrite. You're no good. And the ladies are at it. Spice, Lady Saw, they're at it. What is going on? Now, I don't think this comes because Lady Saw has actually cussed them out and says, well, you know what? Because of you are the dancer artist out. She cussed them out and said, you know what? The lewd lyrics that you're using in your music is disgusting. I think that's what she really means. And some of the nastiness that we see going on is disgusting in your music. And I say, that is what's going on. So, and, you know, it's one of them ones, you know what I mean? And I says, it's one of them ones. I personally, you know, from my personal point of view, I think I'm not sticking up for anybody. Lady Saw's got a little bit of point. She's got a little point. Because some of the music you see these days is disgusting. The lyrics are disgusting. The video we see of disgusting. And what it's actually doing, and I said this many, many times, it's all right for me or big people. It's not a time like, if it was back in the day when you didn't have a device to see it on, or some of the stuff that's going on, it'd be fine. It wouldn't be fine, but you know what I mean? It would have been probably something. These days, you got a device, whatever, the iPhone or tablet or whatever, and you can actually see what's going on. Some of these videos are disgusting. Some of them are literally porn. Now, what it's actually doing, from my point of view, what it's actually doing, it's affecting the young people. That's what it's doing. And young people get drawn into stuff like that. The other thing it does is that you have some nutters out there who's not mentally stable. Now, when you get a song like Push It Up in my belly, or You can feel me, or you can lick me out. Yeah? Some people out there, it goes past my head. It goes past a lot of your head. But not everybody is the same. Some people out there is going to take things like that. And it's going to influence people to do things. Just like how the guys them are sing about lick a shot in this man's head. Stab that boy. Chop off him head. Kill him. Because we hear that in some music as well. Just like how you see that happen. It's exactly the same thing. It's the influence it's had. And they say everybody's not the same. So, in the fact that I do think Lady Saw has got a bit of a point. Yes, she has got a point. Let me say she's got a point. No. The other thing, she is, you know what I mean? She is probably the first one to start the slackness. So, you see what I'm saying? She has started the slackness anyway. She's been doing the slackness for a long time now. But she's changed, right? She's been turned to God, right? So, she's what you call repent. Yeah. She has made a mistake, right? And she's repent on whatever she's doing, which is actually good. Just say she's moving on. And I actually see what she's actually trying to do, you know what I mean? And she has sort of helped, you know what I mean, to sort of saying that. But I say she had started all this a long time before. The other thing, you know, I gotta tell you, I actually met Lady Saw. I actually met Lady Saw in the same building that I am now. And she was a very, very nice person, you know what I mean? But I say some of these slap lyrics that is going on, it's not nice. And I say it's the big people is all right. But it will influence the younger generation, and that is the problem. Because we see things happen now. We see things happen now. Yes? What is going to be happening in the coming future? What is going to happen? There's a chaos thing going on out there now. And we don't know why, and nobody's talking about it, and nobody's saying anything about it. Everybody's just going about their business nice and easy and nice. Until something like that happens to your family, then you start, yes. So that's well. Now, and as I say, and Spice does what she does. Very nice lady, and she does what she does. And you know what I mean? But so, it's one of the ones, as I said, Spice says she was jealous of her. Them used to be living together, and they was very, very good friends and all the rest of it, you know what I mean? And I think Jada Kingdom has also said that, and tweeted that she's an old moon and her time has finished, you know what I mean? And she should move on. And they say she also turns to religion because she couldn't get any further, you know what I mean? But anything you do, you know, people are gonna criticize, you know. Well, but I say, these girls, you know what I mean, must clean their act up. You know what I mean? They must clean their act up because their act is not doing anybody. And it's only there for a second. They're only going to be stars for a little while. Because you can't, some of those artists, you can't put them on turn around 10, 20 years time and say, whoa, that was a classic tune. It's not going to happen, is it? You know, you hear classic tunes. So some of these artists, as I say, the social media is actually probably what caused a lot of this slackness anyway. Slackness has always been there, but the social media and the videos is what actually caused a lot of this slackness. A lot of record now. There's another one which is out with Megan Thee Stallion, another artist. I mean, and I'm not sort of promoting this video. But if you see this video, bad, it's disgusting. And then you said, Carl, what are you doing watching that video? Now, it's not me watching that video. I'm a musician, you know what I mean? So I listen to all kind of music, and I have to search different places to get my music, or if I want to download my music, whatever. And then you come up against this sort of stuff. You know? But as I say, guys, what you actually need to do, you need to clean your act up, because it will affect children. And the children is our future. Now, as I say, there's not a lot of people talking about this, because I don't know if they think it's, you know, we're too scared to talk about it. We don't want to talk about this. But we don't need to clean up on that, because the fact is that, and I guess some of you guys also have children, you know what I mean? So it will come back to bite you back one of these days. And if your children is going to school and them see their mother performing like that, what are they going to say? What they're going to say? They could get, well, is your mother that? Is your mother do that at school? One of his school friends said, is your mother is doing that at school, man? Say one of these artists got children at school. Even they probably go to very special school. Can you imagine? Is your mother that? You know, I'm not a good, you know, I'm not a good. Don't think I like that sort of stuff. You know, and I'm not a prude. Listen, let me say, I see a lot of stuff over my years. I know every slack language in the world. Trust me. So it's not because I don't know it, but I don't use them. I remember somebody sent me a video of a little young boy. And he might cuss out everything. Now, a big person sent me this, you know, of a little young boy. Cuss out. The boy can be probably about this side. And him on the video as well. Now, why are you sending me that? The message I put back into that group, I said, you know what? I know every dirty language. I heard every dirty words in my life. I heard every BBBBBRFFF that I need to hear. There's no swear language that I don't know. I don't hear. I didn't mix up with people that use them, but I know them. So, why are you sending me a video of a little boy making all them swear words? But sisters, I think the other thing, I'm a little bit disappointed with you guys, because it's February, and in 2022, the start of the year, when we was actually fighting about something like that, and it grieves me as well. You know what it grieves me again? It grieves me when it's from, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? It grieves me from my own brothers and sisters when it's like that. No, you never see Beyonce carrying on like that, would you? I mean, answer, Beyonce is very, very sexy woman, very nice woman. But you never see she carrying like that, do you? And if it does, You never see people carrying on social media like that, would you? Now you'll never get the legendary Marcia Griffiths carrying like that, would you? You see what I'm saying? There's no need for it. Because the guys who are at the top of the tree, what we call the top of the tree, because we don't just started out, we just at a little level, we just get to a level. We don't say we're no big, but there's big and big, Michael Jackson had this problem, but you never see Michael Jackson carry on like that, and he wasn't the biggest in the world. So all them things will go on with it just. Yep. Let me try and move on. Now, my other little rant. This is a short rant, but I want to I see something on, I see some interview been going on. Maroons, I'm talking about Maroon. Right. And I see something actually went on. The chief of the Maroons, Richard Curry. Now, a Jamaican reporter went to a compound in where the Maroons are. And as I said, there's been a dispute between the Maroons, or the chief, and Prime Minister Honis. So when the reporter actually went there, he asked the chief, Richard Curry, is he a Jamaican? And he hesitated. He never answered. He hesitated. And they carried on talking, and then he said, well, the Maroons are the early people. And that gets me thinking, you know what I mean? And then she asked him again. And he said, yes, we're Jamaicans. He said, we were we were the first, he says. But if somebody asks, if you're English, or you're British, and somebody asks you, are you British? The first thing you would say, yes, sir. But he hesitated. And that makes me wonder what is going on. Now, you see, we don't want to see no more separation as Jamaica. Yes? Now, the other thing as well, from my little bit of knowledge, we are all Maroons. When they put you on an island and left you there, you're marooned. So we are all Maroons. You could be maroon in your house. Somebody left you in your house. You are maroon. And many years ago, the treaty, some part of the treaty that was signed between the Maroons and the British. The other thing as well, I actually learned that the Maroons actually turned Paul Bogle in because he was trying to make a deal with the Maroons and they fell out. And that was it. Also, I think the real Maroons were actually captured. And I think some went to probably Canada. And I also think some went to parts of Africa. They were sent to Africa. So, and I'm not saying those guys aren't the real Maroon, I'm not saying that now. But as I say, back to my point. And I don't want to. This is very, very tricky, and it's very, very, because people's going to say something. But that's how it is, And I say I can't see how it is like that, because as far I'm concerned, we're all Maroons. Yeah. So I hope there's no trouble gonna go on in Jamaica with this sort of thing, because God knows the island has got enough problems as it is. You know what I mean? And he says he was the indigenous people. They were the indigenous people, and I hope it is well. There's because some years ago it always comes down that the Maroons think they're better than everybody else, or they're better than anybody else in Jamaica. You know what I mean? That what used to come out. You know what I mean? So I don't know if they still feel that way, and I'm not putting anything against anybody. You know what I mean? That's how it is. So we hope things doesn't get. You know what I mean? And as I said, the whole history of us is being bloody mixed up anyway. You know what I mean? So, It's one of them ones. It is actually one of them ones. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I say, we are all people because we're all in a mix-up relationship. Yeah. Thank you. Now, have you ever driven a taxi? Have you ever been driving on the road lately? What is going on the road? Can you imagine what is actually going on the road? Doesn't the drivers on the road get really bad these days? Isn't driving on the road really, really bad? Yeah. You can't, it's very, very frightening to go on the road. I mean, a couple of times I was driving on the road the other day, and I was driving on, we drive on the left here. And the man, they drive on the left as well. So we drive on the left, I'm coming towards you, and you drive on the left coming towards me. Now, a man was on the other side coming towards me. I must be the Lord save me. But the man not running to me head and head on. You see a lot of crashes on our street as well. And you wonder, why is all this happening? You know what I mean? Why is all this happening? And you sort of don't understand it when you saw that. Why is people so careless on the road these days? You know what I mean? And the figures that tap on the road, the figure of road accidents is high, and it's not getting any better. And most of the time, most of the time, if you're very careful, you can't be too over careful. Most of the time, you can, be safe, and you can get around. Let me see. We got a clip that we actually want to show you about a taxi driver. Yeah. A taxi driver driving a taxi with his passengers and children in this taxi. And I call him the taxi driver from hell. And the taxi driver who is actually going to hell. So have a look at this. Let me first apologize there for the bad language and the bad words, you know what I mean? But as I say, that is like the taxi driver from hell, isn't he? And all these children and the people wants to get out of the taxi, but he has to take them to where they're going because he wants to get paid. And it's actually disgusting, you know what I mean, to see something like that is happening. And the children are terrified. The parents are terrified. And you don't know what is going to happen. I think earlier on he knocked a bike off his bike, you know what I mean? And he's still carrying very, very dangerously. This is a taxi driver. And the police are running him, you know. He's running. The police are actually running him down. And he's actually running as well from the police. And all these people, he won't bloody stop. Let's see if we can hear a little bit more of what is actually going on. As I say, mean, there you have it. And it's, as I say, it's a taxi driver from hell. And he's actually driving on the wrong side of the road, you know what I mean? Look where he's driving. And you know, it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't think he actually... Well, let's see what happens when he gets to the end of the road. Because I say he's running from the police. He's running out. I don't know where he's going. He's running. He's a taxi driver fella. And he's actually running into bloody hell. You know what I mean? It's, the government should do something about things like this. Absolutely, do something about this. And those people are terrified. They're frightened. They're having a nervous breakdown. It's absolutely disgusting. And when you see something like that, and the driver who's coming towards you, you don't know what's gonna happen. And if you're on that road, my God, may God help you, because that is something like a nightmare. And I say the police are having, to fire. The police actually fired a gun, you know what I mean? And nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. Let me see if we can sort of go back and see this terrifying nightmare. This nightmare to hell, you know what I mean? The police has actually fired. Go back to the nightmare to hell. There you have it. Let me apologize once again for the bad language. And the police have actually fired shots for him to stop. I think he actually stopped. And I think one of his comments are you gonna arrest me? I'm mad, I'm silly, I'm daft. Are you gonna arrest me? Or is he gonna go to prison? What does he expect? You know what I mean? What if he expect? You gotta go to prison for doing something like that. You take somebody's life in your hands and you know what I mean, you do something crazy like that. And I say God bless all the children was fine, you know what I mean? They get out the car, and the passengers who was in the car as well, they all get out. The parents, the grown-ups who was in the car, they actually all get up safely. And that is actually marvelous to see the good work that the police actually keep their calm and did, you know what I mean? And say, he's actually asking, is he going to go to prison? Or is he going to go re-arrested? Is he dumb? Is he dumb? I don't know if we got a little bit of sound on it where what is the trying to say.
But man, you have people like me, I can't be for you. Hey, the man lit down the back. The man lit down the bike, man, the man in silver, my brother. You know how much care, man, make crush them? People like me, not care. How much I win? All our points are so far, I look at how people in that bum buck. Yes, 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 go back down. Go back down, yeah?
Yeah, let me as I say, apologize for the bad language, but I say it's good to see all those people were safe. And as I says, we was talking about bad driving. That is even worse than bad driving. You know what I mean? It's good job. No one was actually killed. You know what I mean? So, wow, it's one of the, and when you see things like that happens, you know what I mean? It just makes you wonder how bad driving can be, and it's also a bad influence. You know what I mean? Now, have you ever been in a plane? How do you feel about flying in a plane? We got something we want to show you. We picked up very earlier in the day. Let's watch what's happening here. This pilot is absolutely fantastic. Let's watch this. Marvelous. At the back of the plane, if you was. Oh, it's not funny. Can you imagine if you was at the back of the plane and you went, you know what I mean? You see, it's a good job they tell you. You must keep your seatbelt on when you're landing. And you must not get up out of your chair when you're landing. Because you see, that can happen. It may not happen to you when you're experiencing flying. So those are the precautions they actually put into place. So when you're flying, you must actually follow them because you just never know what's gonna happen. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me say once again thank you for watching the program. And don't forget to subscribe. Press the button. You know what I mean? Support the program. Support the thing, man. I must support the thing. And they say, come keep we going. And this is also for you. You know what I mean? Let me say thank you for tuning into Breakthrough TV. And my name is Carl. And let me say, we thank our producer for doing such a fantastic job. He's been right on the button tonight. You know what I mean? He does very, very hard work. And we say thank him. As I say, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I want to say a big shout out to all the Bailey family there. You know where you are. And the McPhee family, you know where you are. The Williamson family, you know where in the world you are. Let me say a big shout out to you, you know what I mean? Also, thank you very much. And as I say, our time is almost here. We'll be back here next week with a wonderful guest. So tune in to Breakthrough TV. It is a live program, yeah. And as I say, we are here from 8 till 9 each Wednesday. And don't forget, if you want to take part in the program, get in touch, get involved, you know what I mean? You've got the number, and a lot of you got the number, and you can listen to the advert because there's advertisers that is everywhere. So get in touch, and it's breakthroughtv@gmail.com, and get in touch, and we can vet you and see what you want to talk about because we have to. Even though you see me here, you know, and you see me rant around, we vet people to come on this show because we just can't talk about anything, and we don't take people who want to just sell their product or advertise their product. So my time is almost here. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great night. Thank you.
On Your Mind is sponsored by ACMC 339 Dudley Road, New Style Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam Jam.
Planning an event? Do it professionally. Please contact Breakthrough Event Management Team and get everything under one roof for both indoor and outdoor occasions, birthday parties, bridal and baby showers, anniversaries, funerals, backyard BBQs and more. We offer a video and photography service, marquees, decoration and a PA system to hire, with popular new style radio DJs spinning old and new school hits. Please contact 07584 197 380 and book all your catering needs with Reggae Jam Jam catering service on 0787 244 3765. And remember, do it good and done.
What's on Mind is